Hello, welcome back to the Laugh Pig Kitchen where we're doing quarantine cuisine. What can we make with what's available at the grocery store? What can we get a hold of? Potatoes, I know there's been some shortage of potatoes around here, but I haven't had trouble finding them yet. They're scarce some places, but they're usually not completely out. This is a bag of russet potatoes, the kind that you bake, you know. But red potatoes, gold potatoes, they all are going to work really well for our needs. So what I'm making this afternoon is a pot of potato soup because we're going to have it this evening for dinner, and then I'm going to put a serving of it in the fridge that I'm going to take over to my mother-in-law tomorrow along with some fresh bread because she's across town by herself, and we're going to drop that off for her so she can have some homemade soup and fresh bread that has lots of our love put in it, so just for her. So let's get to it. When's the last time you made a pot of potato soup? I'm going to show you how I do it and give you some other options if you don't necessarily have everything that I have, or if you don't like all the flavors that I use. See if we can make it work for you. I'm making a pretty good sized pot. One of Julia Child's famous quotes was, always start with a bigger bowl or pot than what you think you need. And with soup, it tends to go that way. I can't make just a little bit of soup. I have to make a lot of soup. And if you're only one person and you still make a lot of soup, soup freezes beautifully. Just put it in, you can freeze it in mason jars, you can freeze it in Tupperware containers. If in a pinch, you can freeze it in a Ziploc bag. But soups freeze really well, and it's wonderful, to have to reheat and, have a nice serving of homemade soup. So let's get going. I'm turning my flame to just under medium on my pot here, and you use whatever oil, grease, fat that is your preference at home, or whatever, at this time, whatever we can get a hold of. I happen to have a whole lot of olive oil, and the only downside with olive oil is if you don't like the flavor, because sometimes it does have a bit of a strong flavor, and it is a low smoke point oil. You can't do I would not try to cook French fries in olive oil, because once you get it to a certain temperature, I don't remember what the temperature actually is, but it will start smoking and smelling bad and making your food taste bad. Here's a little hint for you. If you want to use olive oil to saute with, but you're afraid that it's going to get a little too hot, adding a little bit of butter along with the olive oil will kind of increase that smoke point of the olive oil a little bit. And for our purposes today with the potatoes, because we all know how good butter is on potatoes, this is going to serve a dual purpose of making our olive oil work a little better and giving us the flavor of the butter for our potatoes. That's probably about 2 tablespoons of butter that was right there. And I'm going to, I'm not measuring. They always say measure oil, but I probably put a teaspoon, maybe 2, of olive oil in here. And we're going to let those melt down good. All right. This is 4 cloves of minced garlic. This is a half of a regular yellow onion. This was 1 good long stalk of celery. This was 1 medium-sized carrot. I don't want vegetables in my potato soup. Fine, don't put any vegetables in your potato soup. You can just put potatoes if you want. But I like to beef up the nutrition and the flavor in my potato soup because I want my family to be healthy. And I can't get any fresh garlic. Okay, do you have garlic salt? Do you have garlic powder? You can still get the flavor. You just don't add it right now. Onion, I don't have any onion. Do you have some onion powder? Do you have some onion salt? Because if you want the flavor but don't have the actual onion, we can still make it work. Anyway, I'm going to saute all of this business together in our hot olive oil and butter mixture. Any kind of oil will do, really. I've got peanut oil in the pantry. I've got apricot oil. I think I've got avocado oil. I'm not one to use just regular old vegetable oil or canola oil very much. They're not the greatest things for you. But you know, at this time when we're working with whatever we can get a hold of at the grocery store, let's work with what we've got. If you've got vegetable oil at home, if you've got canola oil at home, corn oil, whatever, that's what you've got. You got shortening. You can use some Crisco shortening in this if you need to. Look at this awesome spoon. My sister got this spoon for me at some place where they made them. It's a left-handed spoon because I'm left-handed. And if you're left-handed, you know what a treasure it is to actually find a utensil that's made for a left-handed person. I love my left-handed spoon so much. We're going to give that a stir. That smells awesome already. I love it. I'm actually going to cover it there and let it kind of steam. This was either 7 or 8 average size potatoes, about that big. Peeled them, diced them. Do I have to peel my potatoes? No, you don't have to if you're okay with having little pieces of what feels like paper that you're eating while you're eating your soup. You know, that's up to you. I happen to like to peel my potatoes because I like a smooth texture in my potato soup. All right, after this sautés and gets just a little bit soft in there, I'm going to throw my potatoes in there and we're going to throw some liquid on it and let it cook for a little while. This is really about all there is to it. The russet potatoes, the nice thing about russet potatoes in cooking with them is they're really starchy and they cook pretty fast. You're going to find that these get softer quicker than like your red potatoes or your gold potatoes. But again, anyone will do. Russet potatoes are starchy enough to make a nice thick broth too, which is really handy when you're making soup. So, how we doing? Look at that. You notice I diced all this stuff up pretty small. That accomplishes a couple of things. They all cook pretty quick, and if your family has children that, you know, don't want big chunks of vegetables in their soup, you know, that's the way to do it. I can hide so much good nutrition by just cutting it up really small and they never know it's in there. So that's what we're doing. In go the potatoes. Stir all that business up real good in there. And it does smell delicious. All right, now for your liquid. You can use straight up water. And actually, that's most of what I'm going to use. I should have already gotten some ready, and I didn't. Stay tuned. Just a second. I'm back. All right, we're going to use mostly water. But I also have milk. Do you have milk? If you can. If you do, this makes a really nice flavor and creaminess. If you have a carton of heavy cream, that makes even a thicker, creamier soup. Although with cream, I would kind of wait and add it towards the end so you're not boiling for, you know, cooking it for a long time. I have just covered all of my vegetables and my potatoes, just covered them with liquid. I haven't overdone it because we're going to let them cook down for a little bit and then we can see if we need to add some more liquid after everything starts getting soft. I'm going to turn my heat down just a tiny bit, cover it up, let that bubble for a little while. It's going to get soft, and when everything gets soft, then this is how I like to do it. It's my handy dandy potato masher. When everything gets soft, I just mash it, mash it, mash it. So there's still some chunks in there, but it's thick too, which is nice. Some people will take it and put it in the blender or use an immersion blender, which is great if you want a really, really smooth soup. But to me, that's getting really close to it being just like baby food. You know, I want a little bit of texture in my soup. So when all of this gets soft, I'm going to mash it up real good. See how the thickness is. If I want it a little thinner, we'll either add a little bit more milk or a little bit more water to it to thin it out just a little bit. We will add a little bit of seasoning right now. I'm going to just put some salt and pepper in there. Potatoes soak up a lot of salt, so you can be pretty generous with your salt. And we will finish our seasonings after everything is mashed up and the texture that we want. And then we will finish off with a little extra salt and pepper if it's needed. But that's it. Walk away for a little while. Let your soup simmer. You don't want it to boil. You don't want it to burn on the bottom. So let it just kind of simmer, bubble slowly. And you're going to have a beautiful potato soup when you're done. We had a couple of pieces of bacon, a couple of slices of bacon left over from breakfast this morning. I'm going to crumble those up. I'm going to get out some grated cheese that we had from taco night the other night, and probably cut up a little bit of fresh parsley, and did I say sour cream? I think I have a container of sour cream. I may put a little bit, and that's how we will dress our soup, just like you would dress a baked potato. You know, do you want? Oh, I want some, you know, a little bit of parsley and some cheese on mine. I want some bacon bits on mine. So we get to dress our bowls of soup, and I made biscuits for breakfast this morning, so they're probably going to get warmed up and go with the soup as well. And bam, we're done. Quarantine cuisine. Easy peasy, folks. Hey, I'm getting lots of likes and great comments from our quarantine cuisine series here, so thanks so much. You guys are awesome. Either that or you're just all really super bored out there having to stay at home and not having anything to do. But I still appreciate you watching and giving me some thumbs up. That's awesome. And, you know, if y'all think of something that you want to know how to make, if you got something at home, it's like, I have no idea what to do with this. Hey, shout it out to us and we'll see if we can help you out, figure out what you can do with your food that you have. Take care, people. Peace.